the car.
Please behind your back. Put your other hand back here, please.
That's why we just want to hop out, talk with you, make sure everything's okay, figure out. Look, we didn't know what you're up to, right? You said you're taking a walk around the neighborhood.
So that would be.
They told me to stop filming.
Well, like I said, and I asked you for your ID. And
But
anytime there's an investigation,
They never.
Welcome to Mr. White, the place where real encounters between law enforcement and the people unfold before your eyes. In Rock Hill, South Carolina, a black man is simply walking through the neighborhood where he pays rent when officers approach him. The reason? A call reporting a black male in a gray shirt following children. He hasn't committed any crime, yet police demand his personal information. The real question is, can your skin color turn you into a suspect on your own street? Next, outside the gates of the FCI McDowell Federal Prison in West Virginia, a citizen legally filming on public land is confronted by state troopers. When he invokes his constitutional right to withhold ID, he's arrested for obstruction and failure to identify. All charges are later dropped, but his camera and phone are seized, and his rights still under threat. And at 2 a.m., again in West Virginia, another citizen pulls over because his car overheats. Within minutes, what begins as a breakdown turns into a full-blown arrest. The man is told he's not detained, that he hasn't committed a crime, but ends up in handcuffs anyway. Once again, the right to remain silent, the right to refuse ID, and the right to be free from unlawful detention are thrown into legal limbo. These three confrontations were captured and exposed by two independent YouTube channels, Tony and the Underground Auditor, both committed to holding power accountable. Visit their channels for raw, unfiltered footage from the front lines of American civil rights. And if you believe that knowing the law is your shield and using it is your strength, subscribe to Mr. White now and drop a W in the comments to let us know you're standing on the side of justice.
Sorry, repeat that one more time.
Officer Ely.
And what's his name? Okay. So there's something wrong with me walking around my own neighborhood. Is it by chance I'm black?
No. Like I said, we get a call.
we got a call.
Because I can't help if kids are out here, but if I want to take a stroll around my neighborhood where I pay rent every month, I can, you know?
Right. That's just fine. And we're not saying you did anything wrong. That's why we just want to hop out, talk with you, make sure everything's okay, figure out. Look, we didn't know what you're up to, right? You said you're taking a walk around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Okay, like you said, we have an agency agreement with the neighborhood, with the complex here, which gives us the right to kind of be out with anybody in the complex, make sure they live here, they belong here, and that sort of thing, okay? So with that, with the call...
have issues with trespassing, which is why we identify people when we get out with them.
Well, in a sense, this is a fair question. How would you know if anybody's trespassing? This isn't even a gated community.
Right, and that's why we get out and talk with folks.
Yeah, that's why we ID you.
Right. Once we check it out, everything's good to go. We get underway. What apartment do you stay at?
I don't think I'm at liberty to disclose that neither.
You are at liberty.
Because, well, I live in that building right there.
Here you go. In case you have any questions of why we specifically got out with you, that's the call for service number. I'm Officer Langley with the Rock Hill Police Department. Okay, that's my business card. You can call the business line on there, and that'll be able to, if you want to talk to the supervisor. They specifically gave your description. So that's why we got out with you and we're talking to you.
Okay, like,
Do you have any questions?
I'm feeling harassed.
Well, you're not being harassed, but how, do you have
Like-
any questions that I can answer for you?
Everybody around here has been walking around the neighborhood, but why am I,
Somebody called us and said there's a black male wearing a gray shirt and
Yeah.
blue jeans following children. You're
Following-
you're the only black male with a gray shirt and blue jeans that I've
following
seen.
children?
Yeah,
Wow.
That's why we just got out and started talking to you.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you're free to go.
Oh, thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
The incident in Rock Hill, South Carolina, a city where nearly 60% of the population is white and just 37% is black, reveals a deeply troubling reality. A black man, unarmed, showing no suspicious behavior, simply walking near the apartment he pays rent for, is approached by police after an unverified call. He committed no crime, yet is asked to provide personal identification. This is a clear example of racial profiling and abuse of administrative authority. In situations like this, remember 3 key rules. Ask why you're being stopped, clarify whether you're being detained, and if you're not, you have the right to walk away. Under the law, you are not required to show ID unless there is reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime. Record everything, stay calm, and say clearly, I haven't done anything wrong, and I know my rights. But if you think logic alone is enough to protect you, think again. Up next, we watch as an independent journalist standing on public land gets arrested without warning. Now let's move to video 2.
I'm doing well. Doing all right?
You mind if I start my camera?
That's fine. My camera's going as well.
All right, good. What's your name and badge number before we get started?
Hey, it's Trooper Jones with
And
the West Virginia
please,
State.
can you step back?
Hey, first of all, let's get some. Your name, sir?
Tugga.
Your real name?
I don't have to give that to you.
All right.
I haven't broken any laws, have
Okay.
I?
Yes, sir. Actually, this is federal property. It doesn't.
No,
It
that's
says
federal property. This is a public road.
no, sir. You're parked on that side of the road.
No, no. See the fence right there?
Again, sir. Would you
This
let me?
is an
Would you?
easement.
Would you call me? Would you allow me to
This
explain?
is an easement, sir.
Would you allow me to explain?
I'm allowed to park alongside the road when my vehicle breaks down, right?
Okay. Is your vehicle broke down?
Certainly is.
Do you need a tow truck?
No, sir, I don't. It's overheated.
Okay. Again, like I said, this is federal
an
property.
easement.
Everything on this side.
No, sir,
is-
that's wrong. You're incorrect.
No, sir. It's not.
You're
But
incorrect.
But again,
This is called an easement. You have 15 feet from the center of the road for people to walk, right?
no, sir. It's not.
Yes,
right.
sir. There is no sidewalk here.
It's not the way it works.
You're wrong, sir. I'm telling you. I've done this all over the state. I've done this all over the country. There's an easement.
I'm sure that you.
There's an easement. That is not federal property. See the fence? It says do not trespass.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Hey,
it doesn't say do not trespass here.
First of all, calm down.
You see that?
Hey, Trooper Beggs, go talk to them. Ask
Do you
them how
see
many
that?
times they've asked him to leave,
Do you see that?
and go from there. I can see. I can see the fence.
That is do not trespass.
Yes, sir. But again, all this in front of
telling
this.
me, no, he's telling me not to film. He said I could stand here.
Yeah, you can stand here. There's no what you're filming. There's no issue with that.
Right.
We're trying to get to the bottom of it to make sure there's nothing else
This is
going
an
on.
easement.
Yeah.
This is public property.
Like I said, what I'm trying to get at, okay, if you would sit and just calm down a minute. I'm
Okay.
sure that you've gone around the state, you've had other incidents
I've
with
been doing
officers,
this
those
for a
states.
very, very long time.
Okay.
I've filmed federal buildings. I've filmed prisons.
There's no law against that.
That's
okay.
that's
what,
exactly right.
What we're trying to figure out is if there's a trespassing complaint. Okay. There's no
See that
issues.
trespassing sign right there, like fence?
Yes.
Is
yes.
there one here?
Like I said, the property line runs all the way over to the
Do
roadway.
they have? Is this their property right here?
Yes, sir.
No,
if
sir,
it's
it
federal
isn't.
prison.
It's an easement.
No, sir. It's not
No,
the
no,
way that
this
works.
is state property right here.
Yes. This is federal property. Okay.
That's federal property right there.
As soon as you come up the road here,
I've already checked
everything,
the GIS survey.
everything on this
I
side is
checked the
federal property.
GIS survey.
Everything on this
I have
is.
checked the GIS. I don't do this without making sure that this is public property and where not to go.
Would you allow me to explain? it then?
Certainly.
Okay. Again, we're trying to see if there's a trespassing complaint. But you're getting excited over nothing. You're trying to goat somebody into trying to violate your rights so you can sue.
See, there you go.
This isn't my first rodeo
There
with
you
incidents
go.
like this.
You're
okay?
assuming again, aren't you?
Just like you're assuming that I'm here to arrest you or do something like that.
Well, you
this
are,
is
because that's their property right there.
actually all this in front of
It
is their
is not.
property. That mountain right there is their property.
It is not. That's
It is.
ridiculous.
It is.
That's the most
Again-
ridiculous. Come on, dude. You're gonna be you're gonna be laugh. They're gonna laugh at that one. Oh my gosh.
if that's-
Can you say that again? Can you say
Again,
that mountain over there is?
Yes,
is,
everything up here is federal property on this side of the road.
No.
Not on this side.
No, listen here. Listen. There's at least a 15-foot.
It's not a 15-foot easement.
15 or
It's-
25, depending on what size of the road is.
Okay, if you've done the
If
research,
I'm
it's 15 or
jogging,
25.
or if I'm riding my bicycle, the government has to provide a walkway, correct? Or an emergency pull-off.
And that's what the roadway's for.
Well,
If you-
I
there's
couldn't-
no
I pulled off here.
there's no bicycle lanes here.
That's right. That's why you have to walk on the easement.
So again, like I said,
If the government put a bicycle lane in here, it'd be different, or a sidewalk.
like I said,
Otherwise, I
we are-
can't walk on the road because it's illegal. I
No,
have to walk.
there's no law against
Sure
walking on the
there is.
roadway. No, there's not. You
Okay,
have to
then.
yield. Did you took your driver's handbook, right? You took your driving test. I'm sure in the driving book it says you
I'm
have to yield.
55 years old, man.
Then you know you have to yield to pedestrians. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if I'm walking on the road like
What?
this, that's yielding to a pedestrian.
You have to walk on the easement.
Again,
Otherwise, you could get a ticket for walking in the road.
that's only if a sidewalk is provided for you. Okay.
There is no sidewalk provided. So I have to
Exactly,
walk
so
here.
there wouldn't be a citation there, okay?
All right.
So again, what we're trying to figure out is if there's a trespassing complaint. Do you understand that? There's no law against you filming
Listen,
or anything
if
like
you
that.
tell me under threat of arrest,
Did I say that? I never said that. I'm
Listen,
said we're
well,
here
let's
to.
just cut to the
I'm
chase.
investigating a trespassing complaint. Okay, that's what we're trying to
Listen.
figure out here. So, like I said, you video,
Let me
there's
tell
no
you.
issue with that, okay? But right now, we're here to investigate.
You are threatening me that you're going to arrest me for trespass.
I never said
I
that.
will leave and I will take this up in court, in a civil court with you and the government.
And again, that's what we're getting to.
No,
again,
these
what
are
I'm
the
saying.
last resorts we have to use when we want to do an investigation on a prison.
No, sir. The
I'm an
investigation.
independent- I'm an investigative journalist.
Do you have your ID on you? Do you have your investigative?
Do you need a ID for First Amendment speech?
No, sir. But if you're,
It's the same thing. The press is the First Amendment, dude.
Yes, but normally with the press and everything, they have IDs,
that's
right?
mainstream media. That's not press.
No, that isn't, sir.
Yes,
Anytime
sir,
that you
no.
have to show ID. You have to show ID when you go
No,
to
you
public
don't.
things. You do, because I've worked
What
on it.
government entity issues the press pass?
Again, sir, I'm trying to decide whether or not
I'm an
you're trespassing
investigative
or not.
journalist doing a story on this jail.
Okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Have you set up appointments to talk to anybody
Don't
or
have
anything
to.
like
That's why we have the First Amendment right to the press.
Yes, exactly. But
Just
if you're
like
going
we
to
have the
speak
right
to
to
some,
Not saying you.
yes, I understand
Right?
that. But do you understand? I'm here to.
I don't need a license to film.
No.
Filming is not illegal.
I'm not saying-
Investigating and disseminating information as the press do not need a press pass.
No, sir. There's no law
Of
against
course
filming.
not.
So again,
So now,
I'm asking
you ask me for a press pass, and I am not going to give it to you because I don't need one.
Did I? Okay, you don't have to give it to me. Again,
All
how
right.
did?
So, let's break it down.
Again,
I
we're
got
here on a
places to be.
trespassing
I got other
complaint.
places to be. I got other places to film. So if you're going to threaten to trespass me,
Again, we're here to
I will
investigate.
leave.
So again, I'll need to see your driver's license. 'cause
there's
this
no.
is
I did not break any law.
First of all, let me break something down for you. Under the state of
I did
West
not
Virginia,
break any law.
under the state of West Virginia, I can just not
That's
ask
not
you.
true.
It is.
You have to have reasonable articulable suspicion
A trespassing.
to ask for. Listen,
We're
you know
here to investigate
you know
a
who
trespassing
the civil rights
complaint.
attorney is John Bryan.
I'm very familiar with Mr.
Okay,
Bryant.
John's my attorney.
Okay,
so
good.
if you want to root around with John for a while, he'll take you to task.
That's fine. Again, I'm going to ask you for your driver's
I don't
license.
have it
right?
on me right now.
What? Can you tell me what your name and date of birth is, please?
I did not commit a crime.
Again, this is an
I
investigation.
am allowed to leave once
Not-
ordered to leave by a law enforcement officer.
They asked you to
So,
leave early.
I'm
Is that
leaving
correct?
now.
No, sir. You're not until you identify.
All right, I'm just going to sit here and remain silent.
All right, sir. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for obstructing.
Do you want me to give you your
Please,
license?
sir,
I will
please.
give you my license.
No,
It's in
sir.
the car.
Please put your hands
It's
behind
in
your
the
back.
car. It's in the car.
Please behind your back. Put your other hand back here, please. See your cuffs? He's a bigger guy. I don't want his.
Thank you.
I don't want him. Also, take his GoPro and his phone. That's going to be taken as evidence. We'll get a search warrant for it as well. Is that too tight? No.
Yes, it is.
I'll adjust them and I'll lock them down on you, okay?
My license is in my car. If you would let me get it.
We're past this, sir. I tried to explain to you. We're trying to decide on what a
You have to
trespassing.
leave me go.
No, sir.
Once
It's
you
too late
give
by
me
this.
In order to leave, I have to leave.
I didn't give you an order to leave.
That's right. You haven't given me an order to leave yet. That's
No,
right.
you
That's
didn't.
why
This is
you're
an
detaining me
investigation.
then.
You're under.
No, see, I have to be warned to leave first by you.
No,
And then once you
that's
don't-
not the way
listen,
that works.
Once you see, yes, it is.
You see
Once-
these? You see this CO right here?
They didn't
These
tell
are.
me to leave. They
These
told me
are
not
the.
to film.
These are the. There's no law against filming.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no law.
This is ridiculous.
Is one of y'all Willis?
Listen,
Who was Willis? I talked to on the
they
phone.
never told me that I
Okay.
had to leave.
Go ahead and.
They never told
Stop
me I
that.
had to leave.
Like I said, that will be.
They told me to stop filming.
Well, like I said, and I asked
They-
you for
they-
your
I-
ID.
I-
And
but-
anytime
but, okay.
anytime there's an investigation,
They never.
you have to
Okay,
identify.
well,
Okay.
Let me give you my
Mr.
license.
Bryant will be able to
Let me
tell
give
you
you
all
my
about
license.
this.
Let me listen. In
Yes,
order
sir.
to trespass, arrest
You're not
somebody.
being arrested for trespassing.
What am I being arrested for?
Obstructing, failure to identify when I asked for your
No,
driver's license.
no. You have to a crime first.
And that's what we was trying to identify.
You didn't get to the trespassing part.
Exactly, because you wouldn't allow us.
Well, you can't give me. You have to give me a warning to leave first.
No, sir. You're not being
Yes.
charged with trespassing.
Yes.
Not being charged with trespassing.
You have. What am I being trespassed with?
You're not being charged with trespassing. You're being charged with obstructing.
Obstructing what? What crime?
Obstructing an officer by failure to identify.
A failure to identify is
Take it,
a secondary charge.
Take that off, sir.
You have to have a primary charge first. You have to have a primary charge first.
In the state of West Virginia,
You cannot-
anytime, do you want me to talk or do you want to keep doing?
Well, the thing
In the
is
state of-
I haven't been warned to go yet.
In the
They just
state of
told me to
West
stop-
Virginia,
they told me
anytime there's a criminal investigation, you have to identify yourself
not
when a police
true.
officer. Okay. There's Supreme Court law on that.
There
okay?
is Supreme Court law on
So
it.
walk over to my car.
Thank you for putting handcuffs on loose.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tie them and make sure they don't tighten down
Can
on
you
you.
get my wallet? I need bail money.
I will.
It's in my vehicle.
You got my keys, Troop?
And lock my vehicle up, please.
Your vehicle is actually going to be towed because we can't leave it here if something happens
Give
to
me
it.
my wallet.
We will be,
Give
we'll
me
be
my
held liable
wallet.
for it, okay? You bring my cuffs, sir.
You have to give a person an opportunity to leave.
You're not being charged with trespassing. I've already explained that to you.
You have to let me leave before you detain and arrest. You have to give me that opportunity.
I asked you
You
twice for
asked
your
me
ID.
for my ID. You did not tell me to leave.
Grab there. Like I said, you can talk to Mr. Bryant. And if you feel like you've been wrong, then he can file his paperwork in court, and we can go from there, and you have your day in court, okay?
You will too.
Good. It's up there on the top. Right there. It's not y'all's fault. Like I said, he's been doing this for a little bit, so.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, that's no problem. Who was Willis that I was speaking to?
in the car right there.
He's in the car here. Let me go talk to him. Go ahead and have K&D come up and run his driver's license. I also need a triple I on him as well. You Willis? Okay. Come back here so I can talk to you real quick, okay? All right, here. I talked to you on the phone. We were dealing with the sex offender registration. You called and you said you had somebody up here that was trespassing, and you had asked to leave on the phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you could just from start to finish tell me what happened, how it started, and what you did.
Sure, absolutely. All right, so first got off notification from the operations lieutenant that there was a gentleman down
Okay.
there.
And then just to clarify, everything on this side of the road is federal property. Is that correct? Everything on this side, because we used to have a lease over here for hunting. All of this is state property.
Right.
So this doesn't have anything to do with the federal.
Right.
That's correct, right?
Yes.
Everything on this side, federal property, correct? Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right, so he's sitting down there. He's got his camera up. I go down there, approach him because, like I said, I'm responding to someone who's filming.
Yeah.
It's outside of the perimeter. Asked the gentleman what he's doing. He said it's none of my fucking business.
Yeah.
You know, he's very combative, very argumentative. He says, you know, leave me alone. I don't have to tell you this, don't tell you that. I said,
Yeah.
sir, you can't film a federal correctional institution. You're on federal property. You need to
And
leave.
where was he at when you first came in contact with him?
Down at the bottom of the hill.
Was he on this side of the road, or was he on this? Was he on the side of the road where the institute was, or what was he on?
He was like parallel. He's in the middle.
Okay.
Right. So at the time, he's got his tripod set up in front of his car. He's filming. Right.
Okay.
First make contact.
Yeah.
And then of course he's being combative, argumentative. Notify operations lieutenant. Operations lieutenant comes down.
Okay.
Then he kind of starts. At one point he comes over here, doesn't he? He comes over here to the side. Like he's moving all about. So.
And the entire time was he on the property?
Well.
Was you here as well?
Yes.
Okay. So he.
When I came down, he was right in the corner on our property.
Okay. So again, I spoke to him. Everything on this side of the road is federal property. That's the way it's always been understood. Because there was a lease over here, and this is state property on this side, right? So everything over here is federal property. Okay.
Is there any way?
Let me finish talking to him, and then I'll talk to you. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So what happened next?
So forth, when operations lieutenant responds,
Uh-huh.
he makes contact with the individual, gets the same response. The whole time the gentleman's being very argumentative, very combative. Then he starts moving his vehicle, moves his equipment, then he comes over here on the side. And at that time, his car is parked on the side of the road. He does step out.
Okay.
He begins filming again. Then he gets angry at that. Then he comes up here. We move here to monitor his activities.
Uh-huh.
He's on this side of the road again.
Okay. On y'all's property.
Right,
Still.
he's right over there. Then when y'all make contact, is of course the last location, and he's there.
Okay. Okay. Did you ever ask him to leave yourself?
Yes.
Okay. How many times?
Like once. You know, I asked him, like I said, when I first made contact, asked him what he's doing. Told me none of my business.
I know that you have a FCI McDowell cap on. Did you identify yourself as a FCI officer
Yes.
employed with the prison?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I asked him to leave, and then that's when he was very, argumentative. That's when I called the lieutenant.
Okay.
And then we went from there.
All right. I will get your information in just a second, and then I'll talk to you real quick. Okay. You can come down here. Are you the lieutenant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just tell me what happened from the time you got the call.
Time I got the call, came down here with Mr. Willis. He is on our corner of our property.
Okay.
He asked if I shoot, and I said, yes, sir. I said, can you please stop filming our institution? And I said, you can film anything else you want to. I have no problem with that. Just please do not film the inmates that we have right here.
Okay, but he was on FCI property when he was filming. Okay.
Right, so then he walks towards his car, which is now on the road.
Okay.
Okay, so then he starts, of course, threatening.
When you say threatening, what did he say?
Come on and touch me, I'll show you.
Okay.
So it's all right.
Okay.
He's got
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna, you're combative, can you please leave?
Okay.
You're awful combative, you're cussing awful lot, please leave.
Okay.
And then he just starts coaching me, trying to get me to go.
Oh.
So then he moves up here, we move in the field. He's trying to bait me on this road.
Yeah.
So I went on our property.
Okay.
And so asked him to leave 6 more times.
Okay.
He moves up, asked him to leave again, and then he gets
The entire time that he was on, you asked him to leave. It was all on this side of the road. It was all on FCI
and
property.
I told him he was on FCI property.
At any point in time, did he say his vehicle was broke down or anything like that? Did he ever say that he was having any mechanical issues?
No, sir.
He didn't say anything like that
No,
to you.
sir.
When he pulled out and moved from place to place, did you notice anything wrong with the vehicle? Did you making any smoke? Did you see any flames? Did you hear anything that would think he's having mechanical issues? Nothing like that. Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have. Just for future use, there's no law that we can enforce about him just filming the prison. I mean, if he was sitting on this side of the road, because again, this isn't federal property, he could sit here all day long and just and film, and there'd be nothing that we can do about it. As far as him being on your property, that's trespassing. He can't be there. He's asked to leave several times by you and also Willis. So he'll be charged with trespassing, asked to leave, and also obstructing.
So even if this is just a question, it's in our policy and in our Department of Justice BOP policy that they cannot film the inmates or our.
But just because it's a policy doesn't make it a law, though. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing, yeah.
Okay.
Because we have
Sure.
we have policies and stuff like that, but just because it's in our policy and we have to go by it, there's not a law for it. So like I said, if he was sitting on this side, he could have filmed all day long, and there's nothing that we could have charged him with. But since he was actually on his side, and then he refused to identify, that's the reason he is like he is. So we're gonna have a tow truck come pick his ride up since he's having mechanical issues. We can't leave it sitting there just in case an inmate would happen to hop the fence. That would be a way for them to escape. And then again, it's on y'all's property. You can have it removed. I'm just gonna get some information from you and from Willis, and then we'll be out of here. Okay?
I appreciate it.
Yes.
So in the future, if he comes back, I'm sorry, I'm all in a fever. I'm at the warden right now.
Okay. Ricky Jones.
They can only do something if he comes on the property.
Up on the property. If he's sitting over here, as long as he's not, people driving by and he's not screaming, threatening, or anything like that, and he's just sitting there and he's just videoing, there's really nothing you can do about that because there's no law against that. Because technically over here is public property,
Right.
but once you get on this side, that's y'all's property, and y'all have control over that and who does what and how they do it that way.
Okay.
So.
Outside the gates of FCI McDowell, a federal prison tucked deep in the mountains of West Virginia, where over 94% of the population is white according to the 2020 US Census, an independent journalist is handcuffed while legally filming on public land. In broad daylight, without crossing any restricted lines, without causing any disturbance, and without being warned to leave, he is arrested solely for refusing to show ID. He invokes his rights under the First and Fourth Amendments, yet officers seize his camera and phone without a warrant. The lesson here is crystal clear. Before filming, always identify whether you're on public or private property. If you're on an easement or roadside shoulder, you have the right to record. And if asked to show ID, remember to ask these 3 questions. Am I being detained? Am I suspected of a crime? Am I free to leave? Without clear legal grounds, you have the right to refuse. But if you think standing in daylight is enough to protect you, wait until you see what happens at 2 a.m. when someone is simply resting inside their car. Now, let's move on to video 3.
You're not going to give me your license? What's up? Committed some type of crime. Are service as well? Have I committed a crime? What's that? I've committed a crime? No, I didn't say you did. Alright, so you're still required to identify yourself. Free to go? Not right now, no. Am I being detained? You're not detained. So am I free to go? No. Am I being detained? If I'm not being detained, then I'm free to go. You're not free free to go until you identify yourself, too. So what's going on with your check engine light? Like with your car? What was your car doing? Stuttering fire or something. Yeah. Okay. And what are you waiting on right now?
Nothing. I was just reading the code.
Okay.
I was waiting for it to does it again.
Okay. Yeah, and I drive by and I see somebody with a hood up. So guess what I'm going to do as a police officer? I'm going to pull over and I'm going to try and help that person. I'm not trying to be difficult.
It's not been a crime committed is what I'm getting at. You guys initially came over to check on what's going on with my car. Now you're approaching a whole different situation.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I just told you what was going on with my car. Am I free to go? Really?
Yeah.
You guys are detaining me for what? No.
Now, you're under arrest and you're resisting arrest.
No. What are you doing, man? So, damaging property? Okay.
Let go of your hands.
Listen, how about you guys let go of me?
Like I said, you're going to jail.
I didn't commit a crime. You said that I was free to go. And now you're arresting me? You said I wasn't detained?
I think you are now. Listen, we don't want to hurt you.
The initial officer pulled me over and he said I was not detained, and now you're trying to detain me.
No, you're going to jail. You're under arrest.
For what?
I told you that already. And
what am I under arrest for?
I told you failure to ID, and now you're obstructing justice.
Alice.
I agree. Evidently not. Yeah. Let me get that.
For what? I've explained to you.
Put your hands behind your back now. You know what? I'm not even running, man. You did. I stopped. That position was at the intersection. I got you. I'm not even running because I didn't do anything. You're not saying it. What are you telling me I want to go for?
I told you multiple times.
You did not.
Okay.
You have no problem with talking.
Where's the beat?
I'm telling you, touch the roof.
Okay.
In the state of West Virginia.
Thank you for watching until the end of this video on Mr. White's channel. 3 incidents, 3 locations, 3 different moments in time, all exposing one serious truth. Civil rights in America are not always respected, even when you follow the law. In Rock Hill, South Carolina, where only 37% of the population is black, a man of color walking near his own home was stopped by police without any clear legal reason. In West Virginia, an independent journalist legally filming outside a federal prison was arrested without being told to leave. And at 2 a.m. on a quiet roadside, a citizen simply resting in his car was asked for ID and then handcuffed, all without any initial criminal charge. Whether it's day or night, in the city or the mountains, bias and a lack of legal awareness can turn a law-abiding citizen into a suspect in seconds. The takeaway is this: always ask these 3 key questions. Am I being detained? Am I suspected of a crime? Am I free to leave? If the answer is no, you have the legal right to refuse to show ID. Record the interaction, stay calm, and use the law to protect yourself. What do you think about what happened? Did the officers overstep their authority? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Mr. White for more legal insights, civil rights awareness, and truly eye-opening stories.